Jazz clubs around the world are sitting empty, but jazz musicians will always have great music and stories to share. And since jazz fans aren't able to get out to hear great music, we will deliver jazz to you at home. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery with Tim Tamashiro. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Tim Tamashiro. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery here on behalf of the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days Virtual Festival. I'm so very happy to be here with you, and I'm wearing my special tiger shirt, tiger Hawaiian shirt. I got that, and the exact same one that Elvis wore in Blue Hawaii. I have that one upstairs. I'll try that for a different show. Anyhow, for this show, very, very excited to invite a couple of friends. We have Audrey Ochoa, trombonist from Edmonton and laugh a minute citizen of the earth. We have Andre Wickenheiser, who laughs at everything, which is the best thing on the entire planet. Trumpeter from Calgary here. Very happy to have you both here. I'm going to put all three of us in the room at one time. There we are. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Everybody does jazz hands.
I'm so good at it. Okay.
Yeah, you're so good at it. Well, that's what people don't realize is that, well, you guys probably know this. Jazz hands is the first lesson that you learn when you attend jazz school.
I was just going to say, Jazz Hands 101 sounds legit.
Yeah, it's not just a day, it's 3 months. So
it's a 3-month
full
class.
semester.
It's an
8 a.m. class. Yeah.
It's an 8 It's an 8 a.m. class.
You come serious. Yeah.
You've passed with flying colors. Audrey, what did you spend your day doing here today? It's beautiful and sunny in Calgary today, but maybe not in Edmonton. I don't know.
It was beautiful today, and it was the first beautiful day we've had in like a week. And I had an outdoor gig today, so very happy about that. I know. It was a wedding. I know. And it was in a person's backyard.
Yay.
They hired me. They'd hired like a duo to play and to celebrate the impending nuptials. I thought it was the actual wedding.
Okay.
But their wedding is apparently like in a week. And the bride was on a Zoom call. So we played like 4 songs and they were like, that's perfect. And I went home. It was great. I had a great day.
Audrey's had the most interesting day. Andre, what did you do, smarty pants? Well, I could top that one.
Well, the same thing I do most days. I get up around 10, 11.
Yeah.
And then the day just magically disappears.
Just magically disappears. In scotchy scotch.
In scotchy scotch.
Well, I'm just very, very happy to have you both on the show, and I know that we're just going to have a blast chatting about life and jazz and all sorts of wonderful things like that. So, Audrey, would you excuse me? I'm going to go talk with Andre first. Is that okay?
No problem.
Okay, I thought you were going to say no for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to tweet about how angry I am about it.
No, that's okay.
This is an outrage.
Outrage. Here's Andre and I in the frames together. It's so nice to see you, sir.
It's nice to be so close to you.
It is nice to be close to you as well. I feel like we're in the exact same room, in the exact same studio, except you're on the trumpeter side.
Yes, that's right. There's a clear division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's those taped out lines on the floor, kind of like Les Nessman had on WKRP. That was his office, you know. I don't know. That was probably way before your time. You don't understand what I'm talking about.
I'll pretend. Does that help?
Yes.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about, Tim.
So you have been busy over this last 6 weeks or so learning how to breathe.
Learning how to breathe. Simple way of putting it. Applying that to trumpet is learning how to do things is trying to figure out how to do things more efficiently.
Yeah.
Whenever we do anything physical, it could be absolutely anything, whether it's sports or something like that, there's a tendency to do too much.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out the bare minimum of what is actually necessary to do that thing, and for me, that's trumpet playing.
Yeah.
I've had a tendency for years to overexert physically, so it's been a good time to figure out how to do less of that.
So what inspired you to do that?
Well, it all started when everything started shutting down, and my good buddy Adam Zinatelli, hopefully he's watching. Hi, Adam.
Hi, Adam.
Was posting his practice sessions every day for about a month and a half, and Sam and I religiously watched them.
And he's a trumpet. He plays trumpet for the CPO, right?
Pardon me?
He plays trumpet for the CPO, right?
Yes. Sorry, he's the principal trumpet at the CPO.
Okay.
And he's an amazing player and super efficient, super relaxed, sounds awesome. And I just realized after watching these videos, if I tried to do the same thing that he did, I would be completely toast in my chaps.
Yeah.
And so that was, at that point, that was probably a week in to being at home. I decided it's like, okay, this is the perfect time to actually figure out how to play more efficiently.
Yeah.
Because I got time. I don't have gigs to go to.
Sure.
I could, take things back a few notches and figure things out.
Well, that's interesting. So, does it feel like you're going backwards, or does this feels like you're taking a few steps back to kind of retrain your muscles and all that, and your lips and your brain synapses, so that you can go forward better?
Yeah. So it's actually, I would say it was almost taking 10 steps back.
10.
Yeah, I was going back quite a ways, because basically what I'm attempting to do is retrain, or I guess gain new neural pathways.
Yeah.
So relearn how to do things that I knew how to do before, but maybe not as efficiently. And the funny thing about when you create a pathway in the brain, you can't alter it. So you can't go back and fix it. So you have to create a new pathway that will replace the old one. With more efficient habits. So this is going to be a process that takes us certainly a lot longer than the time I get to spend at home now that there's no gigs or anything like that. But it's certainly a good opportunity to get that ball rolling.
Yeah, but I mean, when you think about, that's a steep mountain to climb. When you think in terms of the ability to be able to change, like, the entire way you've been doing things your entire life, and now all of a sudden Sam is in the background turning on lights now. Hey, so she just made a guest appearance. I'll go back to my question.
Well, I just should say it's not only musicians that are out of work at this point in time. It's all the wonderful people behind the scenes at the theaters that are at work. So any chance Sam gets, she likes to practice her skills.
Just so everybody knows, Sam is our sound person and our sound engineer and technical person that's setting all this up, and she just happens to be in love with Andre. So I mean, this worked out actually pretty well. There you go.
And don't those twinkly lights make everything just look so much better?
Make absolutely everything just, you are glowing right now.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, shucks.
So what do you think of your progress so far?
I've definitely noticed a big difference. I don't even know how long it's been. I've been losing track of the time.
6 or 7 weeks.
It was interesting. The first couple of weeks, I could definitely feel that things were on track. But yeah, like right at about the week 2 mark, I definitely noticed that some of the things that I was able to do before, I couldn't do, which is a scary feeling. But I've done a bunch of research on this process, and that is an inevitability that is going to happen. So I just stayed calm and just kept going on with it, and everything's kind of back to the way it was. But it was, just a little bit of a mild freak out point.
But I feel that's really wise of you to be able to kind of get to that point 2 weeks in and go, something's wrong. And then to be able to go and to utilize the power of the internet and find out that this is absolutely something that to expect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing, because it's your brain will tell you that especially if something feels different, that it's wrong. Yes. But just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. And so you have to change the way you think about things, because it's very easy to try something new, and if it doesn't work right away, you'd be like, nope. Mm-hmm. Got to go back. I'll just figure it out. But trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity.
Insanity, literally. I think there's a quote around that. I think you wrote that quote right now.
Yeah, I'll take credit for that.
Yeah. This is you were explaining to me that the reason behind this is because trumpet is not necessarily an instrument. See if I can capture this appropriately. It's not necessarily an instrument that you have to push a whole lot of air through in order to be able to produce a sound that is exquisite. You likened it to a vocal cord, for example. You don't have to yell all the time in order to be able to make a sound. So you're doing this so that you can prolong your career, essentially. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah, definitely that. And also become less frustrated with the process. Because when it feels like hard work, it's not as fun. So what you were saying about singing is I do a lot of not wonderful singing, but I do a lot of humming, especially. So I'm trying to get the feeling of getting a sound on my instrument the same as if I were humming. So I want that my lips to interact with the air the same way that they do with the vocal cords.
Oh.
So that's kind of the whole concept behind it. So the first thing I do in the day is I just spend like a couple of minutes just blowing air between my lips. And then sometimes I use a mouthpiece and a straw or whatever, and then just get the sound going. And all I'm focusing on is just ease of air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super fascinating to hear you talk about it in such a well, it's a technical and it's a scientific and it's a physical and it's a mental practice. Boy, there is so much to keep in mind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's so funny. It's with habits, you easily slide back into what you've done for years.
Yeah.
And so that's a weird thing to get used to too, because some days I feel like I'm right in that new camp of, oh, this is how I want to do things. Things are feeling super easy. I'm playing over the horn a lot easier than usual. And then the next day it feels like it used to. And so, but I of course that's going to happen because you can't just change things so quickly. So it's just being okay with the fact that you go back to your old habits. That's fine.
Sometimes
eventually it'll be all this new way.
Yeah, it'll be maybe even just a combination of both. But I know that, I'm no trumpet expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I know Miles Davis didn't push a lot of air through his horn, did he?
No, I wouldn't say so. The thing with trumpet is it's just you need to get the air pressurized, but it's a very small amount of air, especially when you're playing in the upper register.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
See, I thought that would have been exactly opposite.
It's the amount of air decreases as the pitch gets higher, but the speed of the air increases. Yeah. So it's a weird thing. It's hard for the brain because when we think faster air, I say this generally, it's like we assume that we have to push harder.
Yeah.
But then what ends up happening is you overload whatever the reed is, so the lips in this case, with too much volume of air, and then what you end up getting is a louder, lower pitch, blah 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 blah. Yeah. So it's a weird thing to just back off and learn how to pressurize the air properly.
Wow. Yeah. I can see how this is going to be a really worthwhile exercise for you to go through this all new training. And you think about it, Andre, this is the only time in history that you would have been able to just do this. So
yeah, it's crazy. The one thing one of my teachers told me when I was in university is being a musician is recession proof. It's kind of always the same no matter what, but it's like a pandemic that changes things.
We got a pandemic and maybe a recession to deal with. So maybe, who knows? Let's kind of see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited to have you hear some of your music. You created a couple of numbers for us, and one of the first ones is the tune "Alone Together." And I know Chet has recorded this and so many other. What is this about this particular song that you appreciate?
Well, it's one of my favorite tunes to play, but I also think the title is very fitting at this point in time. We're all alone together.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. I love it. Thank you very much for setting that up. Andre Wickenheiser is here as part of the JazzYYC TD International Jazz Days Virtual Festival. Boy, we've been going for 25 days in a row, and we have 3 more days yet to go. We're really excited to have Andre as part of this virtual festival. Here's Andre with his horn, alone by himself, together in a room. This is Alone Together. Yay! I'm pushing the applause button extra long for you, Andre.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. It's a standing ovation for you, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Being alone together by yourself?
Being alone together by myself.
So tell me, playing that song, I'm curious if you were thinking in terms of your new process then. Were you implementing some of that or... Well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was definitely breathing a lot more relaxed, thinking about playing more in terms of preparation breaths, the same way I do before speaking. So not really breathing any more than that. Keeps the body nice and physically calm. And yeah, just trying to incorporate all the new things that I've been working on.
Yeah.
The other tough thing about playing solo without any chords going on behind you is being able to hear the form still happening. And my teachers always told me, it's like, if you can get that happen, if you can really hear the tune strongly, if you're playing alone, then it's going to sound awesome when you're with a band.
Right. Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah. No, you did a wonderful job on that. And I was thinking when you were playing how similar, as you've indicated to me, how similar the trumpet and even trombone, any horn where you need an embouchure like that, it's very similar to the vocal cords.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, they function very similarly. It's just where the vibration happens.
Oh, that's super cool. You've opened my brain up to all sorts of interesting things. Kind of thinking, even in terms of my own instrument, even in terms of just speaking. How to just be relaxed about it and not be so darn loud.
Oh man, it's crazy how much with anything that we do, just overusing muscles, adding unnecessary tension.
Yeah,
it doesn't help anything.
Your example is really helping me kind of think through a bunch of things. So thank you very, very much.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it.
Hey, you had your first gig. When was it? Last week, I guess it was.
Yeah, it was last Tuesday, something like that.
What was the gig?
So it was myself and Mark DeYoung and Jeffrey Salima.
Okay.
We got hired to play in the East Village.
Trumpet, saxophone, and drums.
Yeah, trumpet, saxophone, and drums outside. There were a few different intersections, and what we did for the first one is we were on 3 different corners of this 4-way stop. And we played for a half an hour, and it was super cool. People were coming out onto their balconies and coming out onto their streets, some people with masks on and sitting down and just checking out the music. Even cars were driving by and honking and going like, woo.
Wow.
At least I hope it was positive.
So do you think that people just kind of thought you guys just spontaneously showed up there or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody loved it. We got the best response. I've never busked before, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but it was overwhelmingly positive. It was really nice.
Please tell me you played standing on the corner watching all the girls go by.
We did not, but next time.
Next time.
Next time.
An old Mills Brothers song for you. They're a reference that nobody except for somebody in my age group would understand. But
No, I fully understand that reference as well.
so you guys would play standards while you're out in the corners and just kind of, and then you'd move down to the next corner. Would you stay in the same side of the street, or did you trade corners?
Oh, we traded corners. The next corner, we stood on the same corner with appropriate distancing and making sure that people could go by because we were on the sidewalk. So we were being very careful about that. Then we played there for a bit for a slightly different audience 2 blocks away. And then we went by the Simmons building, out in that big outdoor area there and played for a little bit more. And it was great.
And the next day in the Calgary Herald, there's a rash of jazz band gangs are breaking out in the East Village. There's
I'm hunkering down from the law right now.
You guys need to stop wearing your leather jackets when you go out playing those gigs. And your slicked out pompadour hairdos.
It's like you were there, Tim.
Yeah, exactly. So you've been, of course, teaching students as well online, but you've also been taking some master classes online. What are the master classes all about? Maybe explain what a master class is for everybody out there, so we can wrap our head around it.
Yeah, so I taught a master class for Chestermere High School and then a bunch of other Rocky View schools. So master class is basically, it's like instead of a one-on-one lesson, it's a lesson for a group of people. So it's more of instead of very specific things that you talk about with one student, it's just general topics that you cover. So in this case, it was trumpet playing. And it was very different from other master classes I've done, just because we're not in the same room. And teaching for me is very much like performing. It's very interactive.
Yeah.
I react based on how other people are responding to the information that I'm giving out. So it was weird that most of the people had their cameras off. So I think there were like up to 30 students there, high school students, and I couldn't see any of their faces except for one and then a couple of teachers. And then they were all muted. So there was nothing. So I'm talking about whatever. And then I'm like, does that make sense? Nothing? Okay, I'll move on.
Okay, I'll move on. So is that this just literally crossed my mind right now, you telling me that, is that like a privacy issue for students, or is that something that they have to do, is to not be on camera? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if it was, but they could just choose not to. I don't know. Who knows?
I'm just going to go with the fact that they're teenagers and they are probably sleeping during the class.
Yeah, actually, they just turned on the meeting and left. You know what? That really takes the pressure off.
I'm not saying that whatever Andre says is not worthwhile. I'm just saying they missed out on a lot of good stuff that day.
Yes, we'll go with that.
That's great. We have one more song that you've created for us. You prepared for us. I'm really excited to play this song. This one is called I Remember You. Tell us what your thoughts are around this song before we play it.
Well, again, it's one of my favorite tunes to play. And actually, the first version of this that I heard was by Tom Harrell. And this was back in high school when I was getting all my music off Napster. So I didn't know where it was from, but I just remembered, and I put them on because I drove my mom's car and it only had a cassette player. So I'd get all this music and I put it on a cassette and I would just rewind it. It was at the beginning of one of the sides and I'd listen to it over and over and over again.
Wow.
But anyway, it goes along with Alone Together. It's like, I'll dedicate this to all the people that I usually see more often, but don't get to now. And I remember you all.
Oh, there's another. You squeezed in another pun. Thank you very much for that. That's awesome. Andre Wickenheiser is here as part of the JazzYYC International Jazz Days Virtual Festival. He's cleverly placed this title into and this song in, and I can't imagine that you're even old enough to have had a cassette deck in your car. But anyhow, here's Andre Wickenheiser with "I Remember You."
And you, and you.
Apparently, I'm muted. Anyways, I'm gonna go talk to Audrey. Okay, here we go. I got that pushed, and I got that pushed, and I got that. There you are, Audrey.
You did it. You did it.
I did it. I gotta figure out how to make it all come together. Very nice to have you on the show. You got your headphones on. You got a trombone hanging out on the back of your couch.
It's authentic.
Because that's what you do, right? I just got to say, that couch is off the hook.
I know. It's orange. And it has, I don't know if you can see it. There's like a little, I'm going to move the camera. There's like a little table that goes into the corner. You could put lamps on it.
That's like this is a vintage.
This was a Kijiji find for sure.
Is it really?
Yeah. Oh,
it's
100%.
Amazing. Does it smell vintage? I know that's a weird question to ask.
I mean, I had it professionally cleaned, and I try not to sit on it too much to like mess with the foam. You don't want to mess with that foam density. It's so old.
But you play your trombone on that couch all the time, I would imagine. Is that your space where you play?
No, this is just to prove to the people watching that I do own a trombone, and I do my own stunts, so here it is. Okay, as long as you do your own stunts, that's all that matters. Audrey, you are a very hyper. No, I don't want to end on hyper. I want to end on more of a kind of an idea that just says that you really have a specialized sound because you insist on just being yourself. I was laughing to myself quietly, so not to interrupt your interview with Andre. But when he said, what did he say? Oh, playing. He doesn't want to play in an unnecessarily tense way. I had to start giggling because I'm like, unnecessarily tense is where I live, Andre, in my life. Well, so I should embrace that because I don't,
I wanted to draw that difference between you and Andre because you are a very aggressive player. Would you say?
Yes, and I don't know what that says about me personally. But another thing you said, it was so great to listen to Andre talk about trumpet playing because my dad was a trumpet player.
Nice.
And I would ask him for advice, and he'd just say things like, "Just blow." And I'm like, "All right." or Papa, how do you play? How do you play? How do you solo over Latin music? And he'd go, "Just play loud," and that would be it. Okay, there's my answer. And I carried that with me all these years.
But you've really kept yourself in shape in order to be able to play in the way that you play, because this is an essential part of who you are, right? You really, really believe in the whole idea of just ensuring that you sound like yourself. Tell us what sounding like yourself is all about.
Sounding like yourself is all about embracing all the musics you listen to, because I can't say that I exclusively listen to jazz, and I can't say that I exclusively listen to trombone players, right?
Sure.
I mean, I'm brought up in pop music and musicals, and every morning my dad would wake us up with Sousa marches, and that would be like,
Really?
the get up and march to Sousa, to the kitchen to have breakfast. It's totally normal, and everybody does it in their home.
Yeah.
So one of the first guys who ever hired me for a jazz gig, Dan Schnee at the Yardbird Suite. I was 19, I was terrified, and he just kept saying, like, you have to play your story. Like, stop trying to sound like you're a man in 1945, because that's not who you are, and you don't. Those influences are different, and if you like Beyonce, let that be okay with that. Don't try to hide that you were a big fan of the Spice Girls your whole life, and let that come out in your playing. And that was the first time I'd ever heard that, because, and it's teachers are supposed to give you like new information and try to show you different avenues, but it became a lot of telling you how to sound. I found, from other teachers. So hearing finally somebody tell you, play your story, I was like, well, damn. If I'm okay where I'm at, if I can just play what I like to play, then this is going to be fun.
So then embracing that whole idea of saying do more you, that has been kind of your reason to get out of bed every morning, so to speak. Is it?
It's an ongoing journey, right? Because I know music and art is like an expression. It's like super emotional, but also in jazz, it's like there's a little bit of grit, right? Like there's a little bit of, here's my lick's faster. Well, I'll play this. Well, I'll play it an octave higher. So we can't ignore that competitive thing about jazz. And here's a lick from Pat Metheny's album, but like it's so being able to shed all of that and just play what's sincere and authentically you is something we strive for. I strive for.
In fact, you've even gone as far as to have a course on how to play like yourself.
I was hired to do a little session in for the Central Washington University for international. I don't even know what it's for. Women in Jazz Day. I just made that up. Anyway, okay. And they said you can give like a master class on whatever you'd like, and I don't think I would find like here's tonguing exercises. I don't think I could riff on that for a whole hour. So I thought I'm going to give a master class on how to sound like yourself, which means for me finding quotes from music that I enjoy every day. So the horn lick from Deja Vu, Beyonce's tune, steal that. Throw that in your playing. Why not?
Sure.
Just allowing yourself to find different influences, because it's very important that we play, the language and that we study the roots and the foundation of this music. There's over 100 years now worth of material that we have to, digest, but you're allowed to listen to other things and throw them in there.
And ska has been a really big part of your musical journey too, right?
Ska is like the only cardio I do, and and it's tremendously important for my cardiovascular health, but also it's like really fun music, right? And the horn parts in ska music are not like killing lines. Like they're simple and they're fun and they're you can sing along to them when you're a child, which is when I was listening to ska, and then getting to play it is just like fun, and you jump up and down, and that's really important for some reason to me.
Ska. This is going to be the quote out of our entire interview with me and you, is that ska is my only cardio. But I've seen you play on different videos and online and et cetera, and you really do. You move. You make playing the trombone a physical exercise.
I think music in general is a physical exercise. I had a teacher, and he's now up here, named Ken Reed in Edmonton. He's a great bass trombone player, and he just said one day, all music is dance music, and he plays like the most out there 20th century, solo trombone stuff. And I'm like, you're right. It is about movement, breathing. Mm-hmm. Even if the meters are odd or it's not steady, it is still about movement. And I'm into that.
I'll tell you something that I was really impressed with is you submitted a couple of videos for us to play that you just recorded. Did you record those today?
No, but I did wear the same shirt for consistency's sake.
Okay. That's why I asked.
I didn't want to lie.
But this is really fun, because what program did you utilize in order to record this? Because there are many Audreys playing trombone, but you're also playing the microphone, and you're also playing a little drum, and you're thumping on what program did you use?
I just took I think there's 9 frames in the video that I sent you. So I took 9 different videos just with like my iPad on the camera, and then I had to sync them all on. I used a program called KineMaster, I don't know, just to sync them up, which took a bit of time. And then that we chatted about this earlier, where musicians now in this new world, we can't just play now. Now we have to find a way to produce ourselves and put it on the internet in a complete package. So now I have to learn
Amen.
programs, and I have to. Yeah, I bought an iPad just before the.
Hey everybody, we're back. So unfortunately, we ran into a little bit of a technical glitch there, but hopefully everything is all sorted out now. This is Jazz Home Delivery with the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days Virtual Festival. My name is Tim Tamashiro, dealing with flying the space shuttle and making sure that everything happens. And apparently my iPad got too full of jazz. So I've now burped it. And it's had the opportunity to just relaunch. And I'm here with my friend Audrey Ochoa. And we're here as far as, that's Andre Wickenheiser I'm putting on there. This is a disaster so far. So glad to have you back. You were telling me, before we were so rudely interrupted, that you've learned new technical skills on the iPad. Do tell us that story again.
Okay, well, it was really interesting the first time, so I look forward to revisiting it now. I bought an iPad just before the lockdown started, mostly so that I could FaceTime with my mom and my nieces and nephews. But turns out you can use it to make videos, which is the new currency.
Yes.
Like it's like the musical thing right now is making videos, and it's not even good enough that you have video. Like you have to have good sound, and then the videos have. So I had to learn new software for that, and it's a skill that I have now. And
you've honed it.
Yeah,
because your videos are really interesting and they're entertaining, and it's fun to see a solo trombonist play all the trombones and rhythm and all sorts of different stuff. What's the name of this tune again?
This tune is called Alternate Universe. It's on my first album.
Everybody's so excited to hear it now that we're back on the air. Here we go. Audrey Ochoa appearing as a part of the JazzYYC TD International Jazz Days. Here is Alternate Universe. Oh, Audrey, you learned how to use those video programs really well.
Thank you.
It's like
Thank
you had your own recording studio and you had that your horn mic and you're doing stuff with the shaker and all sorts of stuff. You figured it out.
I'm trying. The standard is really high now. Like, I feel like real video editors are looking at all of our work going, ugh. But
No.
but like that's the standard, because it doesn't matter to the audience, right? That I'm brand new to this. Like, you still have to present something that's decent.
Well, here's what I appreciate about what we just saw is that you are a trombone player. And in the greatest way possible, you created an entire piece, an arrangement with rhythm and harmonies and a lead trombone part and improvisation and the whole ball of wax. How does it feel going forward doing that on an ongoing basis? Because I was really entertained.
I'm glad. And it's fun, and it's nice to have something to do. And this is going to sound really dark, Tim, but it's nice to have a reason to wake up. No, I'm kidding. Am I kidding? But it will never replace the real thing, right?
Sure.
You know, like me knocking on the trombone mouthpiece to get a somewhat bass drum sound is not ever going to replace Sandro Dominelli. Like,
yeah, but it was cool, and you know, as much as I love Sandro Dominelli, he's not as cool as that.
It's true.
Sandy and I go back 35 years, so it's all good. He knows that I'm giving him a hard time. You were recently invited to what might be considered kind of like one of the most kind of celebrated jazz showcases in the world. It's called Jazz Ahead. It takes place in Switzerland, correct?
Germany,
one of those places, but this is like a showcase where the world's jazz bookers come together and they really come and take a look at what is available as far as the international jazz community is concerned. And you were invited as a trombonist. How did that make you feel?
Originally, when Cody, so my label applied on my behalf because I'm maybe not so reliable with deadlines, and when he called to tell me like, "Oh, hey, you've been selected," I didn't really register what a big deal it was because I was in the middle of my other job, which is a full-time school teacher.
Yeah, teaching.
And I was like, "Yeah, that's great. Okay, what dates? Okay, cool. They're in the calendar. Bye." And like, days went by before it was explained to me that this is a big deal. It's an international showcase.
It really is.
And the people in attendance are, know what they're doing, know what they're talking about, and they can enable tours. They can enable a lot of different things. So how did that feel? Initially, not like anything. And then once it sunk in what it was, a source of anxiety and pride.
Again, the best description ever. And it is really so Jazz Ahead, this is attracting all the club promoters and the jazz promoters and the festival
and
promoters
festivals,
and all that kind of stuff from all over the world. So you'll have people there from Japan and Europe and Australia and the United States and all that other kind of stuff. Unfortunately, as we all know, COVID has changed those plans for you. So now you don't necessarily have that showcased in the immediate future, but they're going to invite you back. Is that something you're looking forward to, or is that
You've been officially invited back for the 2021, which is the same programming. They're honoring all of us who lost out this year. Yeah. So I remain hopeful, and I know that there will be some changes regardless. So I think flights going to, like air travel is going to have to change. Just there will be new regulations. I don't know what they are. And possibly, and I don't, I hope this isn't the case, possibly 1 year isn't enough time to regulate. And I'm not hoping for that outcome. Certainly. I'm like really hopeful that it's all going to work out, but I'm aware that this is, an unprecedented situation, and I will roll with the punches.
Yeah. And you're going to go. You're going to go when it's safe, but as you've already indicated, flight costs might be, completely out of hand. So we're going to have to figure out some sort of way. I'm pledging this right now to you that whatever the flights are, if they're really crazy expensive, I'll do whatever I can in order to be able to make sure that we can raise the funds in order to send you over there. Okay?
I'll come. Thank you. In a year, we'll see where we're at in a year.
Ring those phones. This is turning into a telethon for you. Andre is just losing it right now.
Yeah.
So we will, honestly, we'll do whatever we can in order to be able to make this happen for you. So you have been doing some really fun stuff with your next door neighbors. Tell me about how a jam in the back alley just happened for you.
I have some neighbors. I have some neighbors that also happen to be a great bass player / tuba player. He has a sousaphone.
Awesome.
He's great. And a drummer just lived like a few blocks away. So they called and they were like, hey, it's a beautiful night out. Do you want to come and jam in the alley? And I was like, yeah. I'll be there 6:00. I was there at like 5:59. And they have like the bougiest back alley I've ever seen. There's like actually a patch of grass and somebody put a bench there. It is. It's true. It's not like, it's not seedy, like it's nice, and neighbors walk by. So I don't know why it hadn't hit me before that social distancing doesn't mean jazz, like you can't make music. Like I generally stand 6 feet away from the people I play with anyway.
Mm-hmm. 'Cause you don't want to take anybody's eye out, right? You're playing a trombone for crying out loud.
It was not unlike Andre's like street busking thing. And I have busked before, and I well, that's not entirely true. Like I played the Street Performers Festival, and that's a totally different vibe because the people are right in front of you and they don't know you from anybody. You're just there to entertain. I'm sure there's a Street Performers Festival in Calgary as well. Mm-hmm. But it was the same deal where it's just people walking by, walking their dogs, or like, a kid left their backyard to come see what all the noise was, and you're just playing music again, and it was wonderful. And I'm going to exploit that because of our good weather as much as I can, just to keep sane.
So the back alley jams, all those lucky neighbors around you, they're kind of going, is that lady playing a trombone right now, and is that man wearing a tuba? And and what other musicians are there?
There's like a keyboard player, actually he was the fellow who played the wedding with me, the pre-wedding party with me earlier today. So my partner's a bass player, so it's like musicians were all just sort of sitting at home and wanting to play. So now that it's nice enough, I think that's going to happen more and more over the summer.
From your lips to God's ears, may there be back alley jams happening all over the country, all over the world, hopefully in safe ways, obviously. But it's super cool. You have one more song that you've created for us, and I'm excited to play this song for everybody as well. This one is called Postcards. Tell me the story behind this one. That's
it. It's a bit of a long story. Do we have time for a long story, Tim?
You squash it down to however long you think is appropriate.
I originally arranged this piece for a singer-songwriter from Edmonton named Ben Surs, and it's on one of his albums. And it's just he'd hired me to arrange 10 of his pieces for an album, a live album he was doing. And I had to arrange it for 6 horns, a bass player, and a mandolin. Like, it was the weirdest configuration, really. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, I arranged this tune. I liked it. And this is the part where I decided to put it on my own album was my dad died on the Monday. We had our first rehearsal on the Tuesday. And then the show / recording was on the Thursday. So it was like this really, really emotional time. And I was kind of like not really present for it, right? Like I was just
Yeah.
like, don't talk to me. I don't want to break down, and played the gig. And we did, 10 of my arrangements. It was sold out and it was great. And then Ben liked it so much, he turned it into a recording. And I didn't really listen to the song. I didn't really listen to any of it because I had so much like grief, wrapped up in these pieces. But when I finally listened to the final product, I was like, oh, hell, it's kind of nice. And then I thought, I'm going to record it. I'm going to record it just with trombone. So that's what this tune is. And it's on my latest, it's just on my latest album, Frankenhorn.
Frankenhorn, yeah. That your Frankenhorn album, I do want to point out that it was #1 on the college charts for how many weeks?
On the American college charts for like just 1 week. It was a good week. And and on the Earshot, the Canadian charts for I think a couple. So somebody likes it, and that's good enough.
And your mom likes it, you said.
And my mom likes it. Of the 3 albums, she likes this one the most. So that's all that matters to me.
It's a delight. It's so much fun. This the song now that we're about to play is Audrey Ochoa, and as she's just explained, it came from a tender time of her life, and this is a real treat to be able to play this song, Postcards, for you now on Jazz Home Delivery.
Yay.
There's Audrey Ochoa showing off her trombone skills and her video editing chops here on Jazz Home Delivery. You did a good job. Thank you very much. Hey, Audrey, do you think you have to be a YouTuber now, like a full-on video editor YouTuber now?
There was an interview with who's the guy who hosts the Golden Globes and then always makes everybody mad? Who's that guy? Ricky Gervais. He did an interview where he said, celebrity culture is going to die out with this because they're all
sure.
turning into YouTubers, but YouTubers have been doing this for years longer and they're better at it. And so like movie celebrity doesn't really it's not really a thing right now.
You know what I feel is gonna happen is that niches are gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and people are gonna go, oh, wait a second, I really, really like the trumpet, and I like what Andre Wickenheiser is doing online, so I'm going to become a fan of his. And then they're going to go, I am a fan of trombone, and I really like the way that Audrey Ochoa makes videos, so I'm going to become I really think that this is the way that it's going to go.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to like me.
I like you.
So, okay. It's all good. It's all good. I really do appreciate having you on the show, Audrey. That was really a special treat, and I love the light that you provide for us all, and your joy and your sense of humor. And boy, we need more Audrey Ochoas in the world, as do we need our friend Andre Wickenheiser. So this has been the most smilingest show ever. Thank you.
We're also good looking. I mean,
extraordinarily good looking.
It's amazing to have both those things in one package. Let's just get that right.
We are blessed and probably over compensated or compensating.
yes.
That's why we need to give back.
Yes, we need to give. Yes,
that's right.
Ring those phones.
Ring those phones.
Ring those phones. Thank you, Audrey. Thank you, Andre, for being a part of Jazz Home Delivery. This has been a real fun journey to be able to go out and to see people in your own homes and to experience your talent. And I think that the world is richer for it as well. So thanks again for being on the show.
So fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us.
So much fun. We have some sponsors that I'd like to go and thank, and these types of things wouldn't happen without the support of organizations like JazzYYC and all their supporters as well. So I'm going to go say thanks to them right now. Here we go. JazzYYC would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support that has helped bring this virtual jazz festival to you. TD, Jazz Home Delivery, the City of Calgary, Alberta Foundation for the Arts, the Government of Canada, Calgary Arts Development, Inglewood BIA, CKUA Radio, Calgary Public Library, CADME, the Coalition for Music Education Music Monday, Studio Bell, home of the National Music Center, Decidedly Jazz Danceworks, Arts Commons, and the Music Mile. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, please subscribe to this page, and if you want to receive more information about this or any of JazzYYC's other upcoming programming, please visit jazzyyc.com and become a member.